One in five suffer.
Erase the stigma.
Brain difference is not a crime.
Mental health isn't just your problem.
It's our problem.
And now, Mental Health Mondays with Marla and Dave.
Welcome to Mental Health Mondays.
Can we abbreviate it? Do we say Mental Health Monday or do we say MHM?
We say Mental Health Mondays, Marla, at
All
the
right.
beginning of the show.
Well, fine then. I mean, time's running out, so I'm just trying to make sure that I can shorten things up.
I'm Dave.
And I'm Marla, and we are very pleased to bring you our live broadcast on a topic that is super important to our family and obviously to many others. We are dedicated to not only share our stories, but to literally erase the stigma and break the silence around this very topic.
Today's show is brought to you by NAMI and Loving Beyond Reason. We have two lovely guests in studio today. We
Indeed.
have Sabu Terry and we have Elisa Delatorre. They are both graduates of a great program that Marla and I actually benefited from.
Exactly.
Called Family to Family. It's a family support group.
Through NAMI.
Through NAMI, yes, offered through NAMI. Actually, Sabu is also a partner. He is the fitness instructor for Soul Detox.
Yes, hey, how you doing? Thank you for having us.
He also has a son who suffers from schizophrenia. Elisa Delatorre is also took the Family to Family class offered by NAMI, and she's the owner of Lash Lounge Beauty Bar. And she has been a loving support system for Sabu.
Yes, most definitely.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, here's the thing. This is, it's not just so important, but it's our worlds have collided in the most unconventional and unfortunate, I have to be honest and say, but certainly, definitely not unknown to others.
And we'll have a great conversation as soon as we come
right
back.
Help someone who is struggling by supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness and be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
Hey guys, listen up. Learn something.
All right, we're back, and we're going to have a great conversation.
Before we get going, I have to just be honest and say that I was a little distracted because I just quickly realized that at the end of this, there could be something in this for me. Did you say Lash Lounge? Mm-hmm. Okay. We're going to let that. We're going to let that rest right here. Okay. So ironically, Sabu and I had been encountering each other in the neighborhood where we all live or we,
Correct.
Interact. And this is super important because it's not until you end up, life brings you together. Nobody really wants to have the topic in the club that we are unfortunate members in about our children and their mental health issues. And that's one of the biggest reasons that these stories that we are going to get into need to be told. So we appreciate you coming, and I know how hard it is, and I know that even getting to this seat, there's a big, giant journey that has gone down between the two of you and your family for sure.
And only those who have gone through NAMI can truly understand that journey.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it never stops.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things that we like to do here on Mental Health Mondays is bring you information and help erase the stigma for mental health in general. And also to bring you testimonials of people who are in the struggle and who have seen some victories, but the struggle continues. And that's what we're doing here today.
Yes.
And so also, Elisa, I have to tell you that few people, we tend to focus on those who are affected and are suffering, but I need everybody today to know how vital it is for those who support. And I'm going to just say this because David and I are equally in the position that you're in. And it is, part of it is just feeling isolated and feeling alone, and then just not really having, what you want to do is help, especially when it's your children, more than anything on in the world. You would even trade. Like, so I always say to people, I want everybody to know as we get into the story, if you can imagine being wide awake inside of something that is so traumatic, and even for our loved ones who suffer, they are in another reality. We're living with the understanding of their consequences, all of that. So tell us how you guys, a little bit about your story.
Well, it's so long and so vast and continuous, as we spoke about. I couldn't even tell you where to start because, and I'll tell you where my first memory of knowing something was different in the family. And it was when my brother went to college. He went off to college and he had a scholarship, right? And he was extremely bright. I mean, extremely. He was one of those bona fide geniuses, right? These kids, IQ, out of the world. In middle school, doing my mom's college paperwork, right?
Wow.
Getting A's on it, on her nursing.
Wow.
And so
his mother just lost her job, but it's okay. You don't know her. Just keep going.
She's retired.
She's retired, so it doesn't matter.
Marla jokes, she kids. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so, but then he went off to Berkeley. He was doing his thing. Then when he came home, I saw a slight change, but I thought nothing.
And what age was that?
He
College?
was 21.
Yeah.
21, right? Because he went away. And mind you, he left very early, too, because he graduated high school at 15.
Oh, so he was
on his own. He was living on his own, doing his thing, but he went to Berkeley. He wanted to become a surgeon.
And this is your brother?
Yes, my brother, mind you. And so he comes back, and I remember it was one of my football games, and my brother came, and my dad was there. And so my dad was talking to him at a distance, and I saw it. And then my father asked me, Sabu, do you see something different about Paul? I'm like, no. He said, you don't. I said, well, he's saying a little something funny, but that's it. He's still the same. He looked the same.
Right.
He says, no, I can see it in his face. Something's different. So at this time, we thought it was simply college, Berkeley,
maybe
experimenting.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Get into drugs.
Exactly.
And literally, that was the situation, and it got all downhill from there.
So let me remind our audience, there are some things that we all know. So when it comes to schizoaffective disorder and schizophrenia, they call it the condition of stolen lives. And why is because between the ages of 18 and 25 is when it presents, and it's in the prime of your life. And so that is actually something.
And we usually find co-occurring situations that you have to deal with. It usually comes with some drug use a lot of times, as well as the mental health issue as well. So your dad was good to actually pick up on that away.
You can see. You can see it in their, like even with our son right now. There are times that I'll say to Dave, what's going on with D?
How's he doing today?
You can see see the difference. Like sometimes he'll just come down and glare at me, and I'm like, okay, are we going here? So you have to kind of talk to them and.
No, absolutely. And so
that was your brother.
That was my brother. So with the years of growing up and seeing him progress, and it was 25 where he really.
Did he have a diagnosis?
Yes, he is a schizophrenic manic depressant.
Yes.
And
so he has bipolar with schizophrenia.
So he hears things, he sees things, and obviously when they're on their medication, they're a completely different person.
Right.
Yeah.
They're manageable.
I think with him though, I haven't seen my brother in over 20 years. But I've seen him physically.
Right.
I know what you mean.
But he, as you know,
the
being next to me said it was my brother, but the speech, the eyes, he was gone.
Right.
Years ago. And so that allowed me, so the many years him living with me, even up until lately, allowed me to see what my son is today.
Yeah. So put a pin in that, because we're going to come back, because now we're going to turn the corner to a little bit getting into your son's situation And we appreciate you giving the history of your family background as well, which I'm sure is helpful on one hand, but it's sad to think about what you have to face moving
tragedy.
forward.
Yes.
And we will be right back with more of this great conversation.
Right after this.
When Dave and Marla get together, it's hot.
You may not realize it, but these words, often used to describe someone with a mental health condition, can be very harmful. In a country where 1 in 5 people are affected by a mental health condition, it's time for all of us to step up and change the conversation. Just because someone's struggle isn't obvious on the outside doesn't mean they aren't hurting on the inside. We need to see the person, not the condition. Join with me, pledge to be stigma-free.
It's time for the Mental Health Minute with Marla and Dave.
Many people don't have a clear understanding of what is meant when they hear the term mental health. It includes our psychological, emotional, and even our social well-being. How we think, feel, and act are affected. It helps determine how we relate to others, handle stress, even the choices that we make. It is important to be mindful of our mental health at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence throughout adulthood.
According to mentalhealth.gov, many factors can contribute to mental health problems, including life experiences such as trauma or abuse, a family history of mental illness, biological factors such as genes or brain chemistry. While mental health problems are common, help is readily available. Many people with many mental health problems get better, and many recover completely.
If you or someone you love needs mental health support, please seek professional help.
This message is brought to you by NAMI, San Fernando Valley, and Loving Beyond Reason.
David is a thinker.
I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically wear my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together, it's like a match dancing with a firecracker.
Yeah,
And we are back.
I'm the firecracker. He's the match. And then
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I don't know.
So, Sabu, you were actually bringing us up some of the family background. Your brother has a dual diagnosis of bipolar, manic depressive with schizophrenia.
Is it schizophrenia or is it schizoaffective or just schizophrenia?
No, it's schizophrenia.
Okay.
It's schizo the worst, whatever that is.
Right.
Right, because he truly is, that's the worst case I've ever experienced, and actually experienced a lot.
Is he still cared for by your parents? Is he home?
No, so, and just ironically, I just got a call from the nurse for them looking for him.
Wow.
As he left the facility.
That happens
So
often.
they call me, and I don't even know how they got my number, but I told them I haven't seen my brother in years, so I don't know. I don't know.
And so then you started your own family, and now you're dealing with your son has issues that are similar that you're dealing with as well.
Now, the funny part about this, if you can say funny,
You can.
recognized
We need it.
Wow.
when he was 2.
Wow. And what I'm
know.
sorry, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, we're breaking COVID rules here because when I tell you that I feel this to my soul, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
you're gonna owe me free lashes because I swear I'm gonna cry these out.
We literally deal with the same thing.
It's not even just that. It's when you look back, when it's your kids, and you understand. There have been times I couldn't even stand up. Tony has been through it with us. When I had to say my son was schizoaffective, I will never forget that there was a lump so big I felt like the words weren't going to ever come out.
Yeah.
So we too, and David and I talk, and we look back, and we're like, man, we didn't realize it was this.
We didn't know what to call it.
But there were
that
issues
early.
that we can look back and.
And that's
you
a little
know,
strange.
Our daughter
That's a
and
little
our
strange.
son.
Yeah.
So we have 3.
Yeah.
2 that are affected differently with different things, and you are. And I need Sabu. I'm gonna speak for us, and for 1 minute, I need everybody to understand the reason it's so painful is because you give birth to what you believe to be a normal baby. So you're relating to a child. If those of you who you know, God bless you, have to deal with children who are born with an obvious handicap, if someone told us we were having a baby that had Down syndrome, then we would be prepared to care for that child. We give birth or have our children, and the next thing you know, this whole shift happens, and you spend years trying to get them back.
Absolutely. Yes, years that are still going, because my son is 27 now. And when I noticed it in him when he was 2, because he spoke, he walked very fast, he spoke extremely early, full sentences, right?
Early development.
Yes, also extremely bright. The difference between him, and I'll tell you the key, my brother, when he was in his episodes, used to repeat everything twice.
Right.
He would say it out loud, and then he'll speak again, whisper it. And I would ask him, who are you talking to?
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And he was like, no, I didn't say anything. I was like, no, you clearly said it twice.
Yeah.
Right? My son at 2 started doing that.
Wow.
So I told my wife at the time, I said, look, you see what he did? She was like, what? I said, watch. He'll say something, and he'll speak extremely clear, and then he'll whisper. He'll whisper the same thing.
At 2?
At 2.
Yeah, so our son actually hears voices as well. And so what I was trying to help him not deal with the stigma around that as well. So now we talk about, he calls it the network. It's just a group of people that he talks to that we can't relate to.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just his network.
It's beyond us.
Wow.
So now, did you get an actual diagnosis for your son?
Yes.
And
Yes.
what age was that?
And 25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Right.
they're not. Nobody's going down that road before 18.
Yeah, no.
But interestingly enough, you had a history. It's almost like on some crazy, eerie level, we're chosen on a different level, because the understanding of that, for you to catch that at 2,
Yeah, I saw it.
but you had the
'Cause
experience with your
exactly.
brother, and so what was that feeling? I have to ask, because there are years before you can even really put your finger on it.
Because, well, when I saw it, I tried to deny it to myself. I spoke on it because I saw it, but then I kept saying, well, maybe he's different. Maybe it won't be the same.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm overreacting.
right, he's smart like his uncle, but maybe he won't do the same things. Right?
Yeah.
And so as the years gone and the speech continued, the second voice, I call it, continued, then unfortunately the drugs came.
Yeah.
And I didn't know until now, or I didn't find out till later, that the drugs came because he tried to quiet the voices inside.
That's what they
Same
do.
thing happened with our
Ours
son.
went all the way to heroin.
And so here's a question for you. Did your wife at the time, did she share your concerns? Were you guys on the same page and how to deal with it?
Absolutely not on the same page, because she was in 100% complete denial of it. Now, since it was my brother and I saw it, a lot of his traits, right? I kept an eye on it, but I would still tell her, and she would say no. And then I was happy to hear the no's.
Right.
I
It's like you don't
wanna
want to be
wanted,
right.
you wanted to
exactly.
believe it as well, yeah.
I definitely did not want to be right.
Yeah.
Right.
And the day I truly found out it was right, life changed.
Wow. Well, we'll get into that and the pressures that put on that relationship, and then turning the corner to hope that was found in NAMI and Family to Family.
We'll be
when
right
we come
back.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
Known and respected throughout the world.
This radio show is crazy. This is real radio.
Give us our kids
All right,
back.
it's time for the poll question results from last week, and then we'll give you a new poll question for this week. Last week, we asked the question, what percentage of young people with a substance use disorder have a co-occurring mental illness? Your options were, 20%, which 12% of the people answered 20%, 78% of the people answered 45%, and 10% of the people answered 66%, and that 10% that answered 66% were correct. The poll question for next week is people who suffer from depression have a higher chance of developing cardiovascular and metabolic diseases than the general public. The question is, how much higher? Your options are 20%, 30%, or 40%. Get on our social media. Anywhere you see these polls, take the poll. It's fun. It also will give you a chance to
get some information.
Get some information and learn something. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back that quickly.
And we're back. So Sabu, so basically, I really wanted to talk to you as well, Elisa, at what, when this is going on, so you understand now that your son is suffering really honestly with the same diagnoses as your brother.
Yes.
And how does that fare in the relationship? Because, you know, again, we could go on. You guys need a part 2 for sure.
Well, I'll start first, and then you can continue. I hid it from her. I did not allow her to meet my family for years due to, I'm not embarrassed of my family, right? But I didn't want anybody else exposed to what
you had to deal with.
I was dealing with. So I shouldered it, everything. And thinking that I was being, that it was being done for the betterment of our relationship.
Being considerate.
I'll put it to you like this. There are times when I shelter people from interacting with my son as well. And it's not because I'm embarrassed of my son. It's because I foresee me having to get into just an interaction that I would not like to get into with somebody if they say something disrespectful. Does that make sense?
100%.
And then I go into defense mode, and suddenly that could get ugly.
Yes.
So,
and that happened within the relationship when we decided to move our relationship forward in the direction it's going now. And yet, when she saw that, life had changed even for our relationship.
of course.
Yeah.
And what does that mean for you? Like, what were your first thoughts of recognition and realization of what you were going to have to face as a supporter to Sabu, who clearly has, you know, a mountain on his back?
Yeah. Definitely was something that I was like, I could say optimistic because I didn't realize how deep it was in his family and in his life. And like you said, I never thought of it like it was this huge thing on his shoulder, huge weight on his shoulder that he was carrying. I just kind of was like, okay, just rolling with the punches in a way. But it wasn't until I went to the NAMI family to family that I realized it is a journey and it is forever. It's not like we have these dreams and we want to, you know, I see him in a certain way and, you know, we want to get married and all these things, or I wanted to get married. And, you know, it's just, it changes like I don't know, it just changes everything. Like you're just not prepared for it. But then once you're open to, you know, learning
a new way,
a new reality and learning, and it's like, you know, it's hard, but it's also, you know, it's very rewarding too.
How did you guys find Family to Family and NAMI?
Elisa found it.
Yeah.
And thank God. Because when she said, it wasn't until NAMI I realized this was a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
I thought there's an end date.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I learned that in class, I was upset.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
was
it makes you
upset,
feel
like,
hopeless.
It's
Yeah.
not going to end?
Right.
What do you
Yeah.
mean I'm going to do it forever?
Right.
Yeah.
It was so hurtful to me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. that I just stopped.
He hit the nail on the head. That's where the comfort level for me was like, oh, I didn't take it as serious because he didn't,
Right.
you know? And it wasn't until we took the class and that I realized my eyes were open to not just his family and other people and so many other people dealing with it, you know? and realizing that it is a journey and that it's something completely out of these people's control. It's like, you know, it's like
it's an unfortunate roll of the dice,
Yeah,
honestly,
it
because
really
and
is.
it's not a, you know, it, like David pointed out, that unfortunately, especially for minority communities, a lot of the time we look at it like an indictment.
Oh yeah.
What did I do? Is my genes, or listen, it's 1 in 5 people. So I need to look in my camera. It's 1 in 5 people. So I need you to understand, you're not talking about a minority amount of people.
Yeah.
You're not. And so, Sabu, with all this weight, what was a breaking point for you? Because I know you've had a health issue.
Actually, it's 2 years. July 22nd, I had a stroke.
Wow. Now, did your doctor say, we all know when you deal with these issues, stress is a big factor?
It was 100% stress.
Wow.
Arteries are good. Kidneys are good.
Just overwhelmed.
Blood pressure through the roof, so high.
You're a former athlete and you're a trainer now, so.
Absolutely. And I couldn't, it was so high that when I had it, I could not see for 4 days.
Wow.
It took 3 months for my actual, to be able to walk properly.
Wow, man.
And to see clearly. I lost sight. I had to wear glasses for a very long time.
Wow, man.
I mean,
We're glad that you recovered from the stroke. And during that process, I'm sure Elisa was a big support for you.
Yeah.
She was the one that forced me to go to the hospital.
Wow.
You know, sometimes men, I thought I can get fresh air,
Right.
walk this off. Right?
Yeah.
I was like,
Is it inappropriate for me to say, on top of that, the double one would be black men? Can I?
No, I was gonna say it too.
I'm saying it. I mean, you know, and I just have to give a funny anecdote. Every time I meet a black man who's somewhat athletic, and they go, "Hey, you play tennis?" Yeah, I'm gonna come out and play tennis. Sam, somebody we know in common, and I said, "Can you play?" They're like, "Yeah, I mean, I can't."
I'm an
And I
athlete.
said, "Well, then you can't play. You can't start the game." So get out of here with that. But anyway, yes, and it is very much in our culture, which also makes it super hard. So let me give you these stats. For black people in general, we are twice as affected as white people when it comes to mental illness. And we are less than 1% willing to get a diagnosis and treatment to their 60%. So less affected, but more than 60% willing to say it's a brain difference. And I say all the time, and I'll give you these words. Mental illness is not something you cure, it's something you manage.
Absolutely.
100%.
Period.
Yeah.
And I still, that's why I'll sit here and cry with you all day, because I had children at 19, my kids, and I've put my life aside, and he's had to gotten a career and whatever, and it's not like it was his fault or my fault, but I'm the one that manages, and now I'm managing something that I never expected to even.
When we come back, we're going to have to wrap the show, but I also want to touch on what was the impetus behind starting Soul Detox.
I'll let you know.
And hold that. We'll be right back.
It's raw, real, and unfiltered.
Bad.
What are you doing?
Worthless.
Don't trust them. They'll hurt you. You're worthless. It's pointless. When the pain of schizophrenia meets hope, everything can change. Help someone who is struggling by supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness and be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
It's raw, real, and unfiltered.
All right, so right quick, tell us about Soul Detox.
Well, briefly, Soul Detox, I wanted to get into a business that would help our kids and our family members. And after trying to constantly find places to put our brother and my son, there's no place that existed. And so it was just ironically that I met the owner at our other business, and what we did which is solar, and she wanted to start a detox
home
and rehab home.
Wow.
The greatest thing about what Soul Detox does, they take mentally ill.
Dual diagnosis,
yeah,
right?
they deal with the dual diagnosis.
And
wow,
most
that's amazing.
people won't take that, and they will. And because of that is why I choose to partner more with that company and hopefully expand it.
Absolutely.
Last thing before we go right quick, I'm just going to, your best quick advice for someone who's watching, who's suffering in the way that we are as supporters and parents.
Know that it is not your fault, and help is out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, don't be ashamed. You know, it's nothing that it's completely out of our control, and we just have to know that it's a journey, and you know that we're with our loved ones till the end. You know, for forever. Like that's that unconditional thing. We're in it with them. You know.
And all of us here today have benefited from Family to Family and NAMI, a wealth of resources, as well as Love and Beyond Reason. Always going to be there for you. We are in the struggle with you. We're not talking at you. Right. This is something that we experience every day. Thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Absolutely. We're going to have them back and have a part two for sure, because we want to hear more even about your strides with your soul detox. Is that what it?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. So we all of that and more. And listen, this is every Monday. Mental Health Monday will bring you information, will bring you stories, and all the things that you need to actually be able to navigate and support and love within mental health.
Next week, our guest will be the president of NAMI San Fernando Valley, Mr. Kim Bunnell. You don't want to miss that conversation. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you for having us.